Welcome to this tutorial. Today we're going to draw a paper crane with pastel pencils. And for this we're going to trace the drawing into the paper with graphite transfer paper. There, tape the photo on the top and leave the bottom open. I just make a little, I glue the tape onto itself so I can have an edge there that's not taped into the table, and I can lift the bottom. I'm going to need it to draw underneath the photo, so it's easier to get that edge where the drawing touches the photo. And with the reference photo there on the left that I'm tracing, I just tape the top because I want to lift the bottom also to see what's underneath, to see if the drawing is tracing well. And you have to be careful with the transfer paper you're using. It's a good idea to test it beforehand to see if it's too dark or too light, because in this case my transfer paper is very sensitive, and even a low pressure mark it will let go of a lot of graphite. So I have to be very gentle with my tracing. And just main shapes. It's not that difficult to the drawing. So as you can see there, I already can see it's so hard. The line is so thick and we have to clean it up a little bit with a kneadable eraser. Just going to pull out some of the graphite pigment off the paper. Just use this eraser like this. You can roll it. You can also pinch it into the paper, so it like this, so it grabs the pigment that's really into the paper. That's the little tape on the bottom that you can do the same thing. Just leave the tip glued onto itself so you can lift it when you need to. I'm using a Stabilo sharpener for pastels. And the brand that I'm using today for the pencils is the Bruynzeel pencils from Royal Talents. I will link the materials in the description. Now I'm starting with the black, trying to match the lines perfectly, and I'm going to work shape by shape. For this kind of subject is the best approach. going to make some simple color mixing to get closer to this pinkish reddish color that we have on the reference. We have some very close colors in this set that we're using today, but not quite exactly the same. So we're going to try and match the colors of the reference. Now I like to always start with the black, so I can anchor my darkest value immediately in the first stages. This will help me to calibrate my eye to see values more correctly. Now first we're going to work on this shape, and I'm going to use this color to fill in opaquely the paper. I want an opaque layer so I don't see the color of the paper underneath. I want to be careful in the edges to make those very, very sharp. We have all sharp edges in this drawing. And as you go close to the edge of the photograph, you want to lift the photograph so you can work underneath to make this effect seamless. Now we can compare the color, and we're going to have to make it more purple, more cool. So we're going to use this slightly darker purple to adjust the color a little bit. This color is not so difficult to match, so it's a good exercise to start with mixing colors with pastel pencils and learning how to layer colors and to match colors. forgot one line in the tracing, so it's not so hard to just draw it back again. And I want to map this little shadow with the black. I want to create some separation for now between the wing shape and the shape on the bottom. Now, closer to this edge, we have a little bit of light. So I'm using a lighter red color to bring that in. And we're going to the next shape. And fill it in again with one color. Make it opaque enough so you don't see the color of the paper. And then we can adjust the color again. Now you can go either with the purple one for this stage or with this red color first. There's not such a big difference, so you can do it both ways. I see the wing is darker on the reference, so I'll use the black to bring the value down just a little bit. So you don't want to use too much pressure when you're adjusting the color, especially when you're using a color that's too different from the one you already have on the paper, like this one. The black is so different from the color that's there, and we only need a little bit of black pigment there. Okay, you can also use a dark brown The idea is to darken the value. So just use a darker color. Don't need to worry too much about the temperature of the color. Just make it darker. It's the most important thing, is to pay attention to the values. If a color is darker or lighter. Now here I'm just bringing back this purple color. And with this color I'm also mixing the black into the other colors underneath. Now I can see it has become a little bit too purple. So I go with the red again. Now I'm adjusting the temperature. And also lifting the value slightly, because this red is slightly lighter than the purple. We need a bit more red. Now I can put more pressure in the pencil, because the value is so close, but I want this red to come in and take more space in the paper. Drawing this highlight in with white right there on the edge. This little shape is a bit darker, so I'm making a base layer with a little bit of dark, or with this black. And I don't want to fill it in completely, I just want to lay down quite a bit of black pigment. I'm trying to make the pigment uniform. There's a slight gradient from the top to the bottom, and here as well on the wing. You don't need to fill it in completely, just give it some black pigment. We can complete this little shape. And we're going to layer the purple on top of the black layer. This will give us a very dark purple. And it's more bright on the bottom, so I can lift it with the red color. I'm going to work on the left wing now, and this time I'm going the other way around and start with the purple instead of the red, and I'll fill it in completely with this color. In the edge, you want to work with the pencil more vertically so you can get a clean line. You don't want to see the color of the paper anymore, but you also don't want to keep working on the adding more pigment if you already have the area filled in. You don't want to oversaturate the paper. Just enough so it covers the paper, and the next layers on top will be easier to add color, shift the color and value, but still we'll have some room to add more colors and adjustments on top. Now if you see too much pigment dust on the surface of the paper, this may mean that you're using too much pigment or too much pressure on the pencil. You don't want to see too much dust accumulating on top of the paper. Just a little bit and blow it away frequently. Don't let this build up, otherwise it will be hard to manage all the dust on top. It will get everything dirty. So keep blowing once in a while. Give it a strong blow. Don't worry if you spit accidentally on the paper. It will not ruin the paper or the drawing. If you get the paper wet, there's no problem. Just wait until it dries, and you can If it's on top of the pigment, you can go and cover it again when it's dry and cover it with more pastel. But first, let it dry. This kind of pastel pencil, paper that we're using, the Pastelmat, it can take water, so you can work like watercolor if you like. You can even use washes with a brush and water or alcohol to dry faster. And it's great to create some effects, especially to make landscapes, fields, foliage, grass. So you can use a technique with alcohol and brush to make nice effects. So all kinds of possibilities with pastels. We have so much kinds of pastels. They come in pencils, they come in little recipients of powder. They are the pan pastels. And you have, of course, pastel with stick, the crayon pastel, the stick pastel, the soft pastel. Not to be mixed with oil pastel. Those are completely different. They cannot mix with the soft pastel. And it's such a versatile medium. You can explore it in many ways. I love to do hyperrealistic work, more precise, controlled work with pencils. But I also love to do more expressionist work with the sticks. Let's make this shadow a bit darker. And then we can adjust the color of the wing. Now making it more red and slightly lighter. Now I'm using a very dark purple to get some color into that shadow. And you can keep playing with the colors and temperature of the colors until you find something that you like. I do like the purplish shadow, but this may not match well with the right side of the reference photo. The shadows there are more brownish. But you are free to explore and play with it. I'm using the white now to make the value slightly lighter. Paying attention to the subtle gradients on this drawing. So most gradients are so subtle here that it's very hard to notice. You need to keep comparing, shapes. Compare a shape with a shape that's next to it, and see if it's darker or lighter. Sometimes it's just a little bit lighter or darker, and this will make all the difference, creating separation between shapes. And this is what we're one of the things that we're almost always looking for. It's trying to create separation between shapes. Like right here is a great example. The shadow is stronger when it's closer to that edge on the right side, and then it starts to fade away as you go to the left side. A little red into that shadow to help create separation also. And that line that crosses the wing, so it will have a little bit of detail in that shadow. It will help us understand the separation between the two shapes of the wing. Moving on. Now we're going to another shape. The same method that we used before. And I'm filling the triangle of the head with the purple. Now it's a very interesting and simple exercise. To match colors, to try out the techniques of layering with pastels. And it's great to build confidence and a plan to draw with pastels. It's just one of many methods for drawing with pastels. It's a very good base to have. So after this tutorial, you'll be able to make your own drawing from start to finish. You'll be able to layer pastel colors to achieve different colors that you don't have on your set. You can adjust colors with layers on top. You can detail on top of your drawing. And we have, of course, this is the most challenging part of the drawing. It would be the cast shadow. So the shadow that the crane is casting on the paper itself. It's a bit more difficult because we're not drawing the background, so we'll need to blend that cast shadow into the colorless paper. And I'll show you one way to do this. There's a few ways to do it. Now I just want to refine little details. There's not too many details in this drawing. It's mostly the edges. They may have a little highlight or the creases of the paper that are darker on one side and lighter on the other side. Now at this point we want to just do small adjustments. Make shapes slightly darker or lighter. Make these small adjustments. Have a look at the shapes that are around and keep comparing one shape to another. And see, is this shape lighter or darker, or more red or more purple? And you adjust. I'm now starting with the cast shadow. I'm going to map all the shadow with the black color. I will go on the edge there and make a very opaque I want a very sharp edge where the subject turns into the shadow right there. And then I'll just fill in the rest of the shadow with soft pressure. You want to be careful working around the head right there, so the shadow that's going behind it doesn't look like it's avoiding the head. You want to look continuous. So right there, it's better to go softly with the pressure. Take your time. Now this is a bit difficult shadow to do here, because I'm trying to match the shadow on the reference. That shadow has quite a bit of the background color, and we don't have background on the left side. I'm going to mix black, purple, red and gray to get that color. I always keep comparing. I can see it's a bit of red, and it needs to get a bit darker. A little bit of gray. And now I'm using the white color to blend the shadow into the paper color, just to get the edge of the shadow more soft. this is one way to do it. You could also use a paper stump to make that edge soft. And blend the pigment that's on the edge of the shadow into the paper. But in this case, since we are using a white paper, I'm just going to use the white to do this. And the shape of this shadow of the wing, as it goes behind the head right there. In the reference, it's a little different. I decided to change it a little bit to simplify it. And also, this needs to be seamless. Needs to feel like a continuation from the top side to the bottom side as it goes around and on the back of the head there. And this is the difficult part with this shadow. This shadow needs to feel that it's behind the head, so it needs to feel continuous as it goes behind the head. You don't want the shadow to be darker closer to the head or lighter, and then on the other side so it should match both sides. Look at the shadow as it goes behind. Otherwise it will get rid of the illusion of reality. It will make the drawing flat. And that's one of the main mistakes beginners make when drawing realistic artworks. Now, using the white, I'm going to blend this shadow a little bit into the background. I'm also using the white a little bit as a blending tool. I'm actually mixing the pigment that's there on the shadow and going over the edge, make it blend with the background. And final cleanup. I'll just make the head a little bit darker so it stands out a bit more from that shadow behind it. Now always take a step back and see the big picture, compare all the shapes and see if there's enough separation. Look at the colors, if something is warmer or colder. Yeah, make some questions. When you feel like there's nothing you can improve on, and it's done. Just a little bit more separation with the neck there and the wing. Now I feel like the shadows are a bit too purple and a bit too cool. So I'm going to use a brown to take out the purple color and make it more brownish. going to clean up the edge with a kneadable eraser. Clean up the paper, and it's done. I think that's it for this tutorial. If you're still watching, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed, and if you want to follow my tutorials and my work, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm starting a Patreon also, so you can check it out also. I'm planning to launch at least 2 videos, new tutorials on Patreon each month. And I'm trying to make 1 video a week for YouTube. So give it a like and leave me a comment, share the video, anything helps, and see you next time.